It's a very good morning. In Uganda, my name is Prince Apollo. Welcome to the dialogue this morning. And it is time to look at the big events that made the week. The panel is set to take you through those big events. Dr. Gerard Were Wanzala, a public policy researcher, Richard Baguma Tinkasimire, a communication expert, and we've been joined by Felix Adupa, and we'll be dissecting the State of the Nation address as delivered by the head of state this week. The head of state did deliver the State of the Nation address as it's mandatory from Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution, stating the state of the country, and yes, he did it. President Museveni from Kololo, in his address, talked about the history of the NRM and his government, how he and his other colleagues in NRM and NRA adopted a position to promote Pan-Africanism as opposed to other groups which were advancing sectarianism and parochialism. And eventually, President Museveni says their position and strategy paid off, leading to development that we witness today, uniting Uganda, and he said their principle of socio-economic transformation has really worked. The economy has grown, and the society is moving forward. Well, he also talks about the bottlenecks on this journey to prosperity, including corruption and parasites within and outside Uganda who are working to frustrate this particular progress. This State of the Nation comes amidst public outrage over corruption in Parliament and in other sectors of government. But also, there are other highlights during this State of the Nation address, including the boycott by the opposition members, some, not all. But of course, we'll be also looking beyond the State of the Nation address, and I will invite you to prepare and be part of this discussion by sending your comments and observations on these matters. Welcome once again, Dr. Gerard Were Wanzala. Please speak to our viewers. 2 weeks, we are back. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you very much. Good morning, our viewers. Last week, Apollo was busy in Gulu.
True.
And of course, we were not in the studio, but it was good giving the people of Gulu an opportunity to share this platform.
Yeah, true.
Our viewers, we are grateful, and we are here to once again meet you. Looking forward to 2 hours of engagement. Of course, special greetings to my people from the United Republic of Chirinya and those from Namisindwa, specifically Vulo County East.
Wow. Happy to have you back again, Dr. Gerard Were Wanzala. Adupa on which Felix
is wondering whether there is another country.
Please, the president of the Transformer Cadres Association, please speak to our viewers.
Much obliged to the Salt Television, Salt family. Actually, when I'm here, sometimes I think I'm already in Canaan land, but then you told me Canaan is in Makerere. So I want to visit the land after here.
Wow.
Good morning to our viewers. It has been a while to be around here. Greetings to my people of Molatar, especially Kyoga County. So this man has taught me that there's those people you're supposed to greet.
Specifically.
I will greet my people of Kyoga County in Amolata district, the only district in the peninsula. You either travel through land or through water.
Wow.
We are surrounded by 8 districts, but we are in the middle of Lake Kyoga.
Oh.
And it's the only district in the center of this country. So if this country wants to do us good, I think we deserve the capital city. And most of the cities which are beautiful, they are on the lake shores.
Oh.
Richard Baguma cannot deny this fact.
Okay.
And thank you so much.
Wow.
I am glad to be here again.
There he is, the president of the Transformer CAD Association. You still transforming?
Yes, we are still agitating for electoral reforms. As we close nearer to 2026, we are still asking the national chairman of NRM, the chief executive officer of this country, that do this country a favor and we have reforms of the election.
Wow.
And if he fails to listen to us, I think we
Isn't time running out?
we shall try civil disobedience in form of going on streets and demand for our rights, because the time is not on in a good trajectory. The constitution is very clear that the reforms can be made in the 4th year of the sitting parliament or the sitting term. So we are now in the 4th year, and this parliament should be looking into reforms. All these censor motion, all these kind of things, I think should not be an issue now. The serious matter should be on reforms. We don't want to go to the next election where people are still talking about we have been rigged out, or this was not done well, the electoral commission is not prepared, we have not been given enough money, and there is no civic education. Those are reforms that we need to start looking at. So we are still fighting for
transforming
transformation
within the NRM
of a system.
All right. Thank you so much. We are pleased to have you on the big show. Richard, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Speak to our viewers.
As always, I start with God, the Almighty, who really enables us to be here. We are very grateful to the Almighty, and then, of course, to the viewers. The viewers, really, who make us who we are. A good morning to you. Proud to be here. As always, it's the crew. I thought that you had carried some cake for us from the do in Gulu.
From Guru.
I was unable to go to Gulu. I had to go to Rushere, because also the old woman, Verna Rujochi, the mother to the Commissioner General for RRA, was having a Thanksgiving. And for me, in our earlier years in primary school, she fed us. We used to have lunch from her house. So I went to celebrate with her there. So I missed my friend Guru's do.
Yeah.
Mao's do. I'm told it was
Landmark.
there was nothing
event.
landmark about it, but I'm told it was a political rally. A relaunch of Mao to the politics of Guru with the yellow and green garment.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. I was not there myself. Dr. Werike, we are back.
Yeah.
I know Adupa from another angle. So the Transformers, the president of the Transformers
CAD Association.
Transformer Cadres Association. That's not me. So congratulations, Mr. President, for elevation to another presidency.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, do you belong to the NRM in resistance? Because I'm seeing another group.
So, but it's nice to be with you, Adupa. You see, I know Adupa is a person who loves himself. He usually drives nice cars, has very good phones, nice things, and I think that is very. And I think that's the transformation he's pushing for the young people in the movement, and that's what it should be.
But actually, Richard, in just 1 second, seeing NRM developing these internal, I may not call them divisions, but these groups developing internally, you've hinted on the cadres Transform Association. If we've seen, like he said, the in resistance within NRM. We've actually seen the PLU also emerge. Is NRM growing or it's disintegrating, in your own opinion?
First of all, I keep telling you NRM doesn't really exist. I tell you NRM in Ankole is Waringa.
Oh.
I have told you that. I have recorded it here many times. It's a mirage.
Mirage.
NRM. I talk about the NRA. That's the one I know.
So are the kids also part of that mirage?
I don't want to speak for them. That's one too. So there is nothing to disintegrate. No, in the first instance. Disintegration, no. But President Museveni, my president, told us that contradictions are extremely useful because they are revolutionary. And when handled properly, they lead to positive transformation. So I welcome contradictions. And I welcome proper handling of contradictions because they lead, I agree with him, they lead to positive transformation. So when Adupa, takes a certain position, I want to pay attention to him. Yes, I want to listen to him. I don't want to just hear him.
Okay, Adupa, is it progress or it is disintegrating within NRM?
I've told people this time and again that where we are today, we're in 3 stages of leadership in this country. We are playing the first player here. We are playing the politics of the preceding past. That is the first player. The second player, we are playing the politics of the present dominant, the current dominant. The third player is the politics of the emerging future. Now, these 3 combined, they have different visions, they have different beliefs, and they have different values. As the present dominant, you, Apollos, Dr. Alisongas, Richard Baguma, I can put him in the preceding past there, because he has been around for some time.
I started at 14 or 15.
So we can now call him an elder. In nutshell, he should have been back to Rushere and monetize plantation of banana.
Are you contradicting the constitution which says 60? Or you have accelerated my age?
Now,
It's just a comment from you.
Yes, we are not disintegrating, but we're emerging.
Oh.
Because if the preceding past and the present dominant keeps on mixing up for so long, the emerging future will come and kick us whole.
Okay.
So we must
So
have...
it's evolving.
Yes. You cannot stay in one place without realizing who you are.
Okay.
So we have to realize who we are inside.
Okay. Dr. Werihe, this so-called evolution, is it good for NRM, good for this country?
I think evolution is non-stoppable. If you look just recently, the ANC had the Mandela Group, it had the Jacob Zuma Group, and then at some point you saw the economic freedom fighters emerging from the ANC because of the issues around the economy and then the livelihood of the African people. So you see that Malema, who emerged from the ANC as a leader of the Youth League, is now a major opposition person in South Africa. Most recently, you saw Jacob Zuma emerge and then leaving and forming the Umkhonto wa Sizwe Ebuka party. And then now ANC is forced to negotiate with them to try. So for me, when I see their groups emerge, like theirs, is focusing on electoral reforms. And one of the issues they agitate for is a proportionate system of representation, that every vote should count. I think those are issue-based groups. If you see the one of NRM in resistance, by the former RDC, Burora. It is focusing on corruption. They are saying, what are we standing for? How do we define corruption? Is it normal in NRM? So for me, these are reformist groups. So if they are listened to, actually NRM can remove the old skin and then put on a new skin.
Wow. Thank you so much, viewers. This is The Dialogue. Now we kick off the big show, looking at the State of the Nation address. Like I said, it came amidst popular sentiments around corruption, which has become a monster. And His Excellency, the President, in his speech says he now has evidence and he's ready to crush corruption. Well, it also comes amidst the process to censure 4 commissioners in Parliament, and it's this whole discussion we will have this morning. Also looking at the sanctions. It comes amid the sanctions from the West and the US. What does all this mean? Like I said, you can be part of this discussion. We congratulate once again Honorable Norbert Mao. It is really amazing, and the event, like I said, Baguma doesn't want to recognize that it was
no, I said that's what I was
event.
Told.
Well, they say, the people of the area said that this was the first time they are witnessing a big wedding ceremony in the whole of northern Uganda like it was. So we congratulate Mao and his wife, but let's go down and look at the State of the Nation address. Dr. Gerard Werihe, please take your first shot. Especially the opposition boycotted on the account that they don't find or even expect anything new from the presidential address, and they say it has actually become a ritual. Do you find anything fresh about this year's presidential address?
Thank you very much, Apple. For me, one, about their boycott, for me, it doesn't matter a lot, because they have always done it anyway, especially during this period of NUP. Quite many times when the president is addressing the parliament, they are always away. And so I expected it. For me, it is not in any way. But also they watched. They were not at the venue, but they watched, because I'm hearing them talking about it and discussing all the issues he said. So it was just a matter of politicking and hiding and saying, you know, let's show there's nothing new. But for me, if I'm to name this address by the president, the other day I would call it the State of Africa address.
Oh.
Yeah, because if you critically look, he started with a historical analysis of the formation of the NRM, which started as a students' movement. And of course, he points at a university. We know this university was in Dar es Salaam. And you know, in their group, many leaders emerged, who include the John Garangas, the late Kabila, and others. So, and then he focused more on these ideals that he tries over and over again to speak about within the NRM. I think in what he usually tells, when he goes to Chankwanzi, I always see him address my colleagues here on those 3 issues: patriotism, prosperity, Pan-Africanism, and democracy. Now, because of time, I will not unpack each of them. But for me, that part was more of a historical, ideological context within which he was trying to put his point, State of the Nation address. And then from that, then he started talking about the markets. On the issue of integration, which he has talked and talked and talked over and again, I really am in support.
The ideal goal is the markets.
Exactly. Otherwise, what else? The reason why we integrate is because we want people-to-people exchanges. We want people to trade so that countries can make money and people produce more, buy more, and prosper. But the other is strategic security, that if you are big and then you're operating together, then there's threats from outside, you can be able to withstand them. So on that, I purely agree with him, but the historical perspective was trying to build so that he brings his point home. And of course, he gave the examples of the products we are overproducing now, which are not consumed internally, alone, like milk. He talked of milk, where we actually, our market is only a quarter of what we are producing. He talked about things to do with sugar, that while we are producing about 600,000 metric tons, we are only consuming about a quarter of that. So who buys the rest? Then that's when he mentions COMESA, EAC, and the other areas. The other, of course, he hinted about the obstacles to what he called social economic transformation. Which in the local language talks about Bonabagagawale, and to him, he said this prosperity is for the African people and Uganda inclusive. One of the obstacles he mentioned was corruption. He talked about corruption, and specifically, he pointed at Parliament. So for me, by him coming out boldly to point at Parliament, that I have evidence that there is money changing hands, for me, it plays into what we have always said. I will give the example of the cooperatives money. You know, a huge budget of about 170 billion was passed to compensate. Then some, yes, then about 30-something members of parliament also went and registered cooperatives that never existed before, and then they took almost a quarter of that money. What disappointed me is the Inspectorate of Government investigated. To date, none of those MPs has been arrested. And so I think that is the reason why when the president said, that, should I give you amnesty? You heard the loudest noise came from where the MPs were seated. They said, no, it looks like within Parliament itself, there are people who think the head of state should do something about this stealing of public funds. But of course, when the president says, now I get funds, I have got evidence, I'm going to act, sometimes I'm skeptical about that. Because 2 years ago, at the Heroes Day, the president said he's going to roast those pigs who steal public funds. To date, we have not seen them being roasted.
A few ministers are in court and some have even visited prison.
Now, can you compare the iron sheets that Kitutu and the Nandutu took to these cooperatives' money? So I think at times, it's just Richard calls it, they're looking for headlines that to appear like you're acting on something. Of course, about corruption, he says he hates dishonesty. He mentioned that word, dishonesty, that there are those who may make mistakes, okay? But if you made mistakes, I know in the law of Uganda, we have what we call plea and bargain. If the IGG has got you and there is evidence, you can choose to say, I don't want to go to prison, Madam.
Yeah, it comes
Betty,
after the system has
exhausted the process. Exactly. So if he talks about amnesty, which in my case I would call plea and bargain, then they should commit to refunding the money.
We'll come back to that, but just one comment before I cross over. Do you find an ounce of freshness in this year's presidential address?
Well, I've watched so many State of Nation addresses in different countries. One of that which is most watched is usually the State of the Union address of the United States of America. The president usually spends more time talking about the issues from different sectors. It could be security, it could be jobs, it could be within that period, because every year it must be presented. But of course the distinction here is that a U.S. president is in office for 4 years. But this is the 38th State of the Nation address. So I think there's fatigue
It is fatigue.
Yeah.
Adupa, you listened to the head of state. Did he bring out the real state of the nation in his address?
Prince, I must be very honest with myself. As a believer of Seventh-day Adventists, actually I should have been in church. My faith has always taught me to be very honest, and I want to be honest. His Excellency, the President, that day spoke a lot, but to me, he ended up saying nothing. That is my honest view on the state of the nation.
What do you call nothing?
I went back and started looking into the address, and I found that he just keep mixing words there. Huh? What was in paragraph 10 of the 2023, he brings them to paragraph maybe 4. So it is the same script. There was nothing new. If it was an exam, Baguma here knows very well, you would mark him of what? They call it...
Below average.
Aha. So, you see, Apollo and my elder Baguma and Dr. Wanzala, in 2021, 14th of January 2021, a contract between Uganda and National Resistance Movement was signed. It was awarded to a contractor called NRM. And the chief executive of NRM is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He's the chief executive officer of NRM, who is supposed to oversee the affairs and administration of the company. And the contractor here is Uganda. So the State of the Nation address was the report to the members of the board.
Yeah. True.
And the shareholders.
And the shareholders that, listen, in our agreement, this was what we are supposed to do with the contract. We were going to put bridge, we were going to build hospitals, we are going to build more seed secondary school, we are going to work on our energy sector. This is what we expected as shareholders of the company.
What did you expect, you as Felix?
I expect him to tell me that you looked in the 4 years that we have been running the government. I expect him to tell us the status of our infrastructures.
Okay.
Me, a voter from Kyoga County in Amolata district, we have a road that comes from Dokolo to Amola via Nakasongola. We cross the ferry. It is in NRM manifesto that he was going to tarmac that road. I have not heard anything about that. Okay? I have not heard anything about equipping our hospital with the best ICUs. We have Lira Regional Referral Hospital. I think we have only 2 beds.
You have a minister from there.
Those are subcontractors. They subcontract.
He reminds you
the ministers
that
are
the Minister for
subcontractors.
Health
Yes, they are subcontractors.
is from that region.
But the main contractor is there. I expect the president to tell us how is he going to fight corruption by actions in his State of Nation address. He will tell us, the shareholder, much as you have given me this job, but I have a challenge here. They are those who are stealing the resources that you have given to us. However, these are the steps I've taken.
But Felix,
But-
you can admit that the president dedicated some time to this issue of corruption. He actually admitted that even in State House, his office, there is corruption, and he has evidence.
He admitted, but
He admitted
what
that
step did
between finance and parliament, there is corruption.
So
and he promised that he is going to crush this corruption.
it is not, he has been promising to crush corruption. This is not the first promise. You know, if you keep on promising, we lose hope. We lose trust. It is now building confidence and trust in Ugandans that he is fighting corruption. He said he already have got evidence. And I believe he has evidence. There's one thing that I believe that President Museveni investigate and keep things intact. He has evidence, but he has only one challenge, how to act. You have evidence, why don't you act? Now, I was so disappointed when my president tells me that, but if you arrest all of them, so whom will I work with? So he means to tell us Baguma is not there to work with. Dr. Wanzala is not there to work with.
So
You, Apple, are you
his
not there to
statement-
work with the president?
his
Museveni?
statement somehow tells us everyone around him
contradict
He's
himself in fighting corruption, because he said, now if I arrest all of them, I will remain with nobody to work with, which means that those one that he work with is becoming the chief priest of harboring corrupt people around himself. Because if he wants to arrest so and so, he works with that person. He had done something good for him in the other financial year. Unfortunately, he has scooped into the national coffers this financial year. We have the cooperative. Dr. Wanzala is talking about. Do you know that even the report of the cooperative had not seen light in Parliament? You are a reporter at Parliament. Where is the report? But we are well aware that there are those who took billions of shillings that belongs to cooperative. I'm a member of Lao Cooperative Union. We have chunks of land for Lao Cooperative Unions. It is redundant. But we are told that Lao Cooperative Union got over 200 billion.
and cooperatives actually would have helped move his socio-economic transformation agenda forward.
Now, the money that the president is trying to put in PDM, Emioga, Youth Livelihood Project, this would be the money invested in cooperatives. Let them benefit it out of cooperatives. You go to Kenya, you see SACCOs performing. But even these small cooperatives we have are not performing. Go to the PDM, the SACCOs in PDMs are not performing. Because the trend has been when government release the money, you eat it, you wait for the next.
Okay.
So, to me, this year's State of the Nation's address, Your Excellency, honestly speaking, as your cadre, there you have failed us.
Good.
You have not said anything serious. Go back and review your scripts and stop talking about I'm going to crush the corrupt, I'm going to crush. We want to see you crushing.
Okay.
That is one thing I like with the late Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. If he comes and inspect a project, do you know in these 5 years, His Excellency have not launched any serious project.
Really?
Any serious government project? No. Which one have you attended that he has launched?
Okay, I'll find out as we move. Richard,
Richard, have you attended any serious project?
I don't
any
get invited.
Any government project that His Excellency has launched?
He was in Ntungama the other day.
This coffee thing.
yes, the coffee.
This one of
My brother.
my brother Nelson Baguma.
Tugume.
Tugume. Honestly speaking, that is a government project that he has launched.
There was another project he launched.
You know, yesterday we have a
to do with tin smelting in.
Do you know
in Mbalala
yesterday
there.
we had a load shed in Uganda? Do you know the reason? They were trying to switch on Karuma. It has failed again like Abuja Gali.
Oh.
This is a story, you journalists, when I was still in newsroom, by now I would be in Karuma to understand what is happening. So, I want to tell you, Canons, that we must forgive our president. I understand where he is coming from and where he is heading. His level of tolerance is too much. He has been so tolerant, and to an extent that he fails to act on his words because of his level of tolerance. But I want him to give us at least a farewell action. The day he wants to, to
You
go out.
want to see blood.
I want him to give
that's what
us
he asked.
a
The question he
farewell
asked
action.
during
I want
his
to see
address.
him crushing them.
That do you want to see blood?
And the MPs were happy saying, hey.
Let him crush them. If you stop talking, I will crush them.
Richard,
I'm coming for you.
Tell us whether you from your evaluation, you think this was the real state of the nation in his speech.
I think we need to, first of all, contextualize. I think there are very important points my colleagues raise. So we need to, in my view, we need to contextualize. First, that you have had probably 20 or 25 SONAs,
Yes.
State of the Nation addresses, that have been going on by the same person.
Presided by the same person.
Yeah. So you have a challenge of freshness. Yes. That's one. But also another of predictability. Yeah. So that's one. The second thing I think is that the context again. That you have a population, particularly the informed, the elite population, that is extremely skeptical, suspicious, and untrusting of their leadership. So whatever is said is received within that context of skepticism, lack of trust in the leadership. You also have a leader. You have a president who is obstinately consistent when he sets his mind to something. Yeah, so you won't easily take away from him from that line. If he thinks this is the right thing to say and do, that's what he would say and do.
It will be Pan-Africanism.
Yeah, so
It will be
yes, patriotism.
Patriotism.
It will be democracy.
Socio-economic
transformation. Yes. So you know that. So for me, that is the context for the State of the Nation address. So you find that I will really not sit to listen. No, to it. But when I don't listen, I sometimes miss the nuances. So the context for me, I think, is important, and I think maybe it's for also we share with our viewers. The next thing is, for me, I am not one who necessarily views consistency negatively. No, I sometimes I view consistency very positively. Let me tell you some of the things that make me feel that the country's future is not very hopeless. It is the people like the Adupas who have been consistent on an issue, on a matter. They start when they are much younger. So you look at a relatively stubborn group of young people, but you remember where you came from. This is who we were. This is precisely we were consistent on certain issues. We've been here. So that for me gives me hope. And you see them. And you see them here, you see them there. They get surrounded sometimes by people who are not very consistent, who jump on their agendas, but you hope that they will not be subsumed by some of these people. So for me, the president has been consistent. So I saw consistency in the State of the Nation address. There is another thing that I think we are not paying attention to, and that is the existential threats of the black race. You see them in America, and I tell people, just look at the American prisons and look at the percentages of prisoners racially.
blacks.
Overwhelmingly. Look at the people in the Caribbean. These Caribbean nations which are being torn apart. Who is there? Look at our continent. It's the lowest in all indices. All. So we also have to think about the existential threats facing us as a race, as a people.
And
then
that's what
as a
he
country.
says,
So I'm taking
that
some
his
of the-
insurance is in patriotism and the unity of Africans
Yeah, but you see there is insurance at different levels.
in delivering
Yeah.
strategic security.
Absolutely. They are so security of self, security of health, security of food, these things, but also income, economic security. And so what you find is a context of where people feel extremely economically insecure. So you secure this, but this is not coming along. And so you talked about cooperatives. If you really want to think about something that gives people security economically, it's working together. So if you come and undermine that, then you are taking away that security. So why do you provide physical security, security of body? You undermine economic security. So you see, the security can be indivisible.
Yeah, but when you talk about cooperatives and working together, Richard, his government, Museveni's government, has all along promoted those groups, from SACCOs now to Emioga, now to what they are all targeting groups working together. I don't know if somehow that fits in what you think can work best for this economy.
Apollo, we have talked off air privately, and you know that perhaps I am an extremely strong proponent of groups, and I can tell you I belong to I don't know how many groups. I think what we do in our government, I think we actually undermine groups.
Really?
Absolutely. You see, sustainable groups do not become sustainable because of handouts.
Oh.
Yeah, once you start the method of handouts, you undermine groups. These groups formed on their own. So if you are going to support them, you don't come and give them handouts that are looked at as a casino, as electioneering money. You undermine absolutely the very
Actually,
foundation.
many of the groups that are being formed are targeting the money.
We talked
Only to
about the
receive
cooperatives.
money.
That's what we're talking about, the cooperatives. You have existing cooperatives. You have people at the level of members of parliament forming cooperatives to take this money. I mean, and you know, me, I say, if there is anybody who has a tap, who has his finger on information and the situation in this country, is my president. On that one, he has a finger on the pulse. So even when you're forming the groups, he knows. Even when you sign, he knows. So when he comes up and says, "Oh, I have evidence,"
I'm going.
You have got it now. Well, Mr. President, you have just got this information now. That's not true. You have had this information consistently. So I have some positives. I think that we must plant this issue of existential, of coming together to fight for our existence as a people. Otherwise, we will remain slaves.
Okay.
But on the overall, I was disappointed. If you give me as a teacher overall and you write an essay, I read the text. I was taking the positive things first because I mean, it's also perhaps the shortest state of the national address ever. So thank you very much.
He
for
arrived on time even.
I
earlier.
was coming to say that he kept time.
Yes.
So people didn't sleep and he kept to the script.
And remember, you have always, not you, some people have always accused him of making long speeches.
So I am talking I'm bringing the positives, yes, because as a teacher, when I don't just mark an essay and don't point. So there are some positives. But overall, I did not feel that the state of Uganda was addressed.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you where you know that freshness is a challenge. He again talked about middle income. Do you remember when he talked about the
Yeah,
middle
yeah,
income?
yeah.
It took the country by storm, the headlines, the social media. But now when he talks about it, it's no longer tickling anyone. In fact, even the panels I have been on, no one brings that up anymore. So you see, that's the context I was talking about. But overall, I was disappointed. I did not feel that the key things in the state of Uganda were touched.
Like what?
Let me take his pet subject, infrastructure.
He has spoken about infrastructure for all the years. Dams that have been constructed, power dams that have been constructed, tarmac roads. I think even in the last address, he talked about tarmac roads, the total length, distance being around 8,000, around there. So he
Let me tell you,
possibly,
let me tell you, Apollo, where you find the problem.
perhaps this time round he says, let me leave that one.
Yeah, but
Now,
you see, when he
talk
drove,
about corruption.
when he drove from Nakasero to Kororo, and you talk about working on roads, have you moved from Nakasero down to Kororo? You can't go and address people about roads being in a good state. It's a contradiction. So you just leave it out. And that's what I'm talking about. That you see, if you have, as Dr. Werike described it, a dinosaur that has walked in Kampala, you can't go to Kororo and talk about roads. But his promise, our investment as a country, the amount of money is on infrastructure.
Yeah.
Where is the infrastructure?
He didn't
If you have
talk
just
about
tested the dam that you are telling us is going to bring electricity down, and instead all the power over the country goes out, what will you talk about? And you know, these are the things, the state of the nation. You can spend time telling me about your 1960 work in Yapshozi and your wars, but the state,
Is what people want to hear.
this one is what
The present.
And I did not feel overall that this was
The state
in
of the nation.
in the statement.
Okay, thank you so much, and we are actually closing the first hour. Viewers, you can be part of this discussion. I invite you to send in your comments and observations via our WhatsApp platform 0701609906. Be brief, precise, and to the point. Tell us what you think about this year's State of the Nation address as delivered by His Excellency, the President. In the studios, Dr. Werihe Wanzara, public policy analyst. Adupa Ongwech Felix, he's the president of the Transformer Card Association within the NRM, but Richard Baguma, communication expert, is also here to give us their opinion on what they think. Let's go for a quick break, but when we return, we dig deep exactly on how or what actually were the misses and the hits in the presidential address, the corruption, the president coming out to admit that indeed even in the State House there is corruption, there are corrupt individuals there. Even in Parliament, between Parliament and Finance, there is corruption going on and he has evidence. What is he going to do about it? Actually, even the sanctions that were imposed on the government officials were addressed, but was it enough? Was it really enough adequately addressed in his speech? Let's go for a break. When we return, the dialogue goes on. Don't go away, we'll be returning shortly. Welcome from the break. Welcome to the dialogue. This is the second hour. My name is Prince Apollo, Richard Baguma Tinkasimire, and joined by Felix Adupa, Dr. Werihe Ongwech. Yes, Adupa. Sorry. Yes. You
And you have to say when.
Ongwech. Yeah.
And
A man from
Kyoga,
Choga,
Amorata district.
Amorata district.
It's
And
very
they-
important to me.
And they are watching. They are watching. Dr. Gerard Werihe Wanzara.
Over Morata.
Francis Odoki Rwatolonyo.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Gerard Werihe Wanzara is a public policy researcher looking at the State of the Nation address. What were the expectations from the public and what did the president deliver in his speech? Comments coming in. I'm watching you from Lila, but I come from Amorata district, and Adupa Felix is my real brother, but I only thank him for the eyes open that the president ended up with nothing. Big up to we, okay, big up, we are here on the ground, and I wish him well in the 2026 parliament. You didn't tell us that you have ambitions.
At least Wanzala, you can hear I have one vote. Please mobilize. No, I am a flag bearer for Kyoga County. For that, for your information.
One potential vote, my brother. I have been around human beings.
Okay, he says, listen, he says, good morning, Team Dialogue. Thanks for the good program. There is no country that has no corruption, but it depends on in which range. The only problem is our Jaja president has too much mercy to his people. The crushing of the most corrupt government people will be done by the government of MK, not from Museveni. Alex from Kisugu, his hopes in fighting corruption is in MK. A comment from Richard?
No, this is what I think about our group and these ones before us. Our parents who are in power, real power. Some of us who have assumed influence, and the Adupas who are pushing. I think we are all oiled with this corruption thing. It has become so systemic and so systematic that tackling it will be a surgical operation. You see, when you do surgery, you must create damage.
And endure
You
the
must
pain.
create damage on some parts of the patient in order to save the entire patient. And so there are consequences to that. You cut the body, you spill blood, you do all kinds of things. And it's a very delicate, very careful approach. So I think that's one. And I can give you an example. You see, the president said something which he knows has been happening, which we all here know has been happening, that the money that gets stolen is properly budgeted for, which means that right from conception, the money is put in very legal ways, very properly legal ways. So the user departments will generate as per the law. The committees of parliament will scrutinize as per the law. The entire parliament will pass, and the president will assent. And I give you the example. I've been giving you the example of the things I campaign about. The excise duty tax on alcohol in Uganda, where we have budgetary constraints, has been reduced, not even maintained at the same level. With all the papers and advice from the World Bank, from the IMF, from the World Health Organization, everyone, the alcohol industry corruptly went to the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance brought this. The Committee of Parliament, despite the Committee of Health crying about it, they are on record in the Hansard. The whole House passed it. So this is the corruption that we talk about. It is the systemized, systemic. So when you come to fight, what tools do you use to fight everything that is legal? I have seen people in Parliament saying that the commissioners' service award. You see, the parliamentarians didn't read what they were passing. It is not illegal. Marema Biriz will go to court and withdraw. Whoever will go. It is not illegal. The members of parliament passed this money and gave it to the commission to spend. So you see, for me, it is this systematized,
Syndicated.
syndicated
corruption.
that we must deal with. My President Yoweri Museveni, in my view, his most important element is to get and sustainably hold power until he passes it to whoever convinces him, Adupa or whoever else. And to do that, you must use patronage.
Don't land me into trouble.
It must be, sorry, it must be patronage. I'm not among those who fear to say I want to take the power. For me, I want the real power. I don't want this Wayinga, this mirage. So, the patronage can only be financed. That is why Apollo, that every important office, quote unquote, has a CSR budget that has been heightened in this budget. It's in billions of shillings. You are giving people, as we go towards electioneering, money to hand out the way they want.
Okay, we must wind up on this issue. Doctor, the president spoke about corruption, but the perception, the narrative and sentiments from the public now is that the president cannot implement what he's saying about fighting corruption. What does that mean now to a president who is also facing 2026 general elections, yet the public, there is outrage in the public around the urge to fight corruption? Won't he change perhaps to win that support?
First of all, I want to emphasize that I belong to that group of Ugandans, the majority who believe that the president is not very, very serious about corruption. And I will take this on his own words. Not long ago, while celebrating commemorating the month, anti-corruption month, it's usually around, I think, October. The president, when the IGG, Betty Kamya, say that the battle on corruption is becoming difficult, what we want to do now is to go for lifestyle audit. Your salary is 3 million. What business are you doing to own a mall? And then you have children, you're studying maybe in the UK, and then you have other houses, bungalows around Kampala. And then the president said, no, go slow. For us, we are still lucky. I'm quoting. If we scare some of these people, they will take this money elsewhere. And therefore the country will lose. So the good thing is they're not stealing this government money. They're not stealing my cows. If they touched my cows, I would go for them. But this is government money. So for me, that one disarmed the inspectorate of government. Because all the politics I've studied, all the public policy I have studied, there is nothing called government money. The money that government uses is collected from me when I buy sugar. When I go to the fuel station now to buy petrol, each liter I'm paying 1,550 on fuel. When a person boards a taxi, is paying tax. And then there are Basubuzi, business people, exporters, importers, and so forth. So there's nothing called government money. So I agree that day I was very disappointed. But now, if the president wants to get serious, this will be positive. And I can assure you, if he acted, he would get public support. Because people are really disturbed. If you hear that you went to the hospital, health center in Manafa, and there are no drugs, but there are 80 people, ghosts on the payroll, and someone is pocketing the money. Those salaries that are being paid to ghosts would treat someone and save someone's life. So for me, if he acted, he would get all the support that Ugandans can give him.
All right. Felix, do you think it is possible that the president, at one point now, he may change strategy and be tough about the corrupt, because the outrage in the public is real, and he needs support from these people?
You should just declare corruption in this country as a pandemic. It is what we are going to live with, because I don't see him changing any tactics. If you see what he has done, the president has put State House Anti-Corruption Unit. I personally have a case that I've reported to State House Anti-Corruption Unit. It is now 6 months. They have not gone on the ground to investigate this case. They have not even recorded the statements
From you,
from me,
the petitioner.
the petitioner. I have even given up, actually, I've given up Brigadier Teshoke's unit. It is no longer doing anything. You come after, that's why I said Mzee is very loyal to his people and so tolerant. When Madam Nakalema comes back from the course, he had to create something for her. Finally created
The investment protection.
unit.
Investors protection.
Now Banababo Charity Brigadier General is going for another cost. I believe if she does not come back and take over as a commander of the SFC, he is going to create again something, maybe will be Parliamentary Protection Unit for corruption. So all this is creating, it is not giving us any positive result. So to me, Mzee, because of your level of tolerance, you cannot
Felix,
fight these
that goes
people.
beyond tolerance. That goes beyond tolerance.
For him, he said he's tolerant, he's tolerant. He has to first rehabilitate you in case you have done something wrong to him.
Did he also say that those who will come and confess will be offered amnesty?
But we have seen him rehabilitating people. Don't you see them? There are very many. People who have done serious things. Jamwa the other day was pardoned. Not so.
Yeah, former NSSFMD.
Yes, Jamwa
Chandi
was
Jamwa.
given a presidential pardon. The one for LC1 bicycle of local government,
Jimmy Ramafa.
Jimmy. Did he not pardon Jimmy? That is the president we have. President come and speak on camera what he wants to hear. When he goes back, these people who have stolen a lot, they come and say, Mzee, you see, this is it. Oh, we are going to manage this. And at the end of the day, he said, now they are all my children. That's why when the president is talking to us, he first go back to history. The history is to protect the future. So for me, I am very, very positive that there is no any positive result we are going to get in terms of fighting corruption. We are going to live with it until God help us.
That is your opinion, and we need also to hear from you viewers. Go to our WhatsApp platform 0701609906. Our producers will run it on the screen. Let's get those comments and observations very fast so that before we leave this place, we read them out and we share those views and comments.